Well, here are my damn guitar pickups. And my alien harp has 12 strings, so I think I can use one sensor and one actuator on each set of 6 strings. And as sensors, I guess I'm kind of assuming that these are already the best little sensors they can be. But as actuators, I'm gonna need to rewind them. And I guess the summary of my last video is that I should use 8 ohms of wire, and I should use the thickest wire such that 8 ohms of it just completely fills this up. And my rough estimate is that 28 gauge wire should just about be right. And I'm pretty sure that this was originally wound in this direction, so I guess that's what I'm gonna do. And this is really hard to do from behind the camera, so give me a sec here. And so here it is, and this is the moment of truth. Wow, I'm surprised. That's 8 ohms exactly. I didn't expect it to be that close, but I guess math does work, at least sometimes. So I'll put this back in its housing, and then the issue that I have here is that this pickup is just a little too tall to fit under the strings in my Aeolian harp. And anyway, I want to keep the nylon strings on this one, so I just built a second one. But before I glue the soundboard on, I want to cut out space for these pickups. And I just did that with a knife, and that worked okay. But you can already see the issue I have, which is that I kind of failed to make the instrument wide enough to accommodate the mounting hole on the pickup. So I'm just gonna glue a little extra plywood on here like this. And now there's space for the mounting holes. But this is the other problem that I have. And this one really pains me, and I really don't want to have to re-experience the trauma. So I'll just do this through the magic of magic. That gives me a sinking feeling in the bobbin of my stomach. And so now this all fits together just fine. And then I finished assembling it off camera, and this is what it looks like. And at first I wasn't really able to get this working with the circuit I built in the first video in this series. So I cobbled together this abomination. And so here I've got this sensor, and I've got that running into an instrument input on my audio interface. And then that is running into this 20-watt power amplifier. And I have that going into my output coil. And then I've got this multimeter measuring the RMS voltage across the output coil. Oh yeah, now we're cooking with fire. That actually sounds really good. I'm happy with how that sounds. I guess in the end there, you can hear why it wasn't working before. I think I just had the coils too close together and they kind of interfere with one another. And I'd like to be able to try vibrating multiple strings at once, but this isn't gonna work with one sensor upside down and the other one right side up. And the other thing you may have noticed is that this is drawing over 10 watts of power, which is kind of ridiculous. So clearly I've got to get to the bobbin of this. So I built this lid structure thing so that I can just put the pickups on there like this, and I can move them around and adjust their height. And this is probably better anyway. Maybe it's not such a great strategy to cut big holes in the side of your instrument. And so now this does work with my little circuit. Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm really happy with the way that sounds. I guess it does at least sometimes stably vibrate several strings at once. And I wouldn't say that that's typical. Usually I really only see and hear one string vibrating, even when all the strings are tuned to the same pitch. Okay, I'm a little bit surprised in that recording you do hear multiple strings vibrating together, but in person I didn't really hear that. And I think the contact mic just picks that up way better than you hear it in real life. And so here's what it sounds like through the camera's microphone, and without the million tons of reverb that I added to the other ones in post. Yeah, so I guess I would say that in real life it sounds a little bit better than that recording does, but it doesn't sound nearly as good as it does recorded through the contact mic. But overall, I'm quite happy with this. I think it's nice progress. But ultimately, I'd like to be able to control this with a computer. So I think what I'm going to do next is go back to using small coils to vibrate each string individually. That way in the future, I'll have some control over which notes are playing, and maybe I can control whether they play harmonics or the fundamental, and then I can write some sort of algorithm to generate music that continually changes. And it'd be nice to hook that up to some kind of sensor. You know, maybe it plays music based on the wind speed or the amount of light, or any kind of sensor really. And I'd also like to work on the instrument itself a little bit because it's not particularly resonant, and I'm not exactly sure how to improve it. I think it's maybe some combination of making better bridges, making a better soundboard, and maybe also making the instrument a little bit taller so that there's more space inside. But if any of you have any expertise with that, please let me know down in the comments. I'd like to know how to best direct my efforts on that. But anyway, I think that's all for now. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Please subscribe and all that so I can become a momfluencer, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye!